not meant to see that. We're not meant to use that for our vessels. We're meant to speak goodness. We're meant to kiss our wives, to use our lips to love on our wives, to kiss our wives, to drink the water that God gave for us to drink, to eat the good foods that God gave us to eat. The burger and the fries, the vegetables, the healthy foods, all the good.
The apple pie. I like apple pie.
And kill Jesus. They beheaded John the Baptist. And it's not going to be shut down because God has servants. He has servants ready to preach the gospel. And they are preaching the gospel now. Right? The word that will be preached to all nations.
And then the end will come. That's what's gonna happen.
To have, to reap the best things that is given in this life, isn't that the best thing?
Or is it to be in bondage?
Why do they choose death? Why do they choose unrighteousness? Because they show who they serve. They serve
the devil.
Jaden Ivy has entered a legendary distinguished group of gentlemen, the all-time great professional athlete side quest list. And what this new addition to the list made me think is that we should go through some of these different moments and rank them from best to worst. Now, before we get into this, I want to clarify what we're kind of doing and what we're kind of ranking this based off. We are here to rank the moment, not the person. Obviously, Jaden Ivy and all of the other people on this list were going through some mental tribulations when they created these moments. But I feel that if you know that you're going through something and you still decide to go live to thousands of people, it's at least fair game to speak on the moment more than the person. So we're not here to judge Jaden Ivy, the human, or any of the other people on this list. We're literally just ranking them based on how much I guess I enjoyed them or how much I found them to be comical. We're really only going through a few moments here that just came to mind when I saw this video. Right off the bat, after doing some further analysis, we're going to skip the one that I was going to put first on this list. Well, by first, I mean last. I'm going to skip the one that I was going to put here. If you guys know about the Chandler Jones Instagram Live, I don't think that's something that I should maybe touch on. That one might be a little bit too scary because he did end up getting arrested after that whole situation. And some of the topics he touched on, maybe we should not dive too deep into, but that one was definitely a wild video. So imagine that one goes here. So in place of the Chandler Jones video, we're actually going to put this Jaden Ivy video. I think this is the weakest of the side quest endeavors. The rest of this group is pretty strong, and this one wasn't that wild. I kind of already placed the clips that I found were the most funny, but yeah, when he was talking about apple pie, and then when he was talking about like God's going to strike you down, but outside of that, just preaching the good word of God. He goes into a lot of different avenues. You know, he talks about murder, secular music, drugs. So he really goes in a lot of different directions, but in my opinion, not as strong as the rest of this list.
On a gold day, I had to do drugs or something. No, my greatest days of all time was in the long jump pit, boy. By myself, not a drug, man. About to get traded. Man, I don't think so. I just met with Mr. Day. I don't think I'm getting traded.
What's this gonna be? Oh! Are you kidding me?
Next, we got the Kai Jones IG Live, and this one is a pretty significant leap up. Kai Jones vibing to some Playboy Cardi, hitting a couple dance moves. His speech isn't all the way there, but this one is more about vibes than words.
Damn, my bad, dog. Shitty.
I didn't even get that when you're so lean there. It's pretty freaking low. I've done some bodybuilders, and this is pretty freaking low. I gotta stay away.
Damn, my bad.
Damn.
That was shitty. I had a lot of fiber, bro.
Man.
We got it, Doc.
3%.
I can believe that.
I need that.
3%.
Increase. We gotta stay at that weight.
Body fat.
We gotta stay at that weight.
That's pretty fucking good.
Next to physique.
Here,
Physique.
Write that down.
No, I got this right here, man. You ain't anybody ain't walking around with this.
No. Steve Stone.
The Steve Stone Award. You gotta be freaking hammered and jacked. Bust a move on them, Doc. Some shit they never seen.
And now we're getting into some real good stuff here, man. This is the Antonio Brown, the legend of the side quests. So he's getting his body fat percentage, and he's just ripping the farts, man. He's just tooting it up in there, just gassing the whole room. One of the other gentlemen in the video actually has to flee for his own safety. He says, I'm going to be exiting. So he leaves. Antonio Brown eventually does get his body fat percentage, 3%, very impressive. And then the best part at the end, the doctor here busts a little maneuver, and then they call it a day and go on their way. So this one is going next. And just so you guys know, the rest of these are all the GOAT Antonio Brown.
Hi, me, I'm getting fafa, no Google Gaga, Omega Safa, getting all the spinach, call it papa. Numbers going up, they saying ha ha. Got it dancing on the toe, do the cha cha. Hear the callers later, say papa. Voila.
Just an all-time great display of musical prodigal talent. Nothing more to say. The video speaks for itself. And finally, my all-time favorite pro athlete side quest, Antonio Brown, after showing up to the Raiders practice in a hot air balloon, releases one of the greatest quotes of all time. My biggest regret in my career doesn't involve calling my GM a blank or showing up to Raiders camp late in a hot air balloon with frozen feet or throwing rocks at the UPS driver. And it definitely doesn't involve taking my shirt off and doing a victory lap around the Jets stadium mid-game while throwing up the deuces. My biggest regret is that I'll never get to see me, Antonio Brown, play a game live. Sure, I can watch the game afterwards, but I can't imagine what it was like for you all to see something like that, like watching the Beatles or Jesus perform at the Red Rocks. I got nothing else to say. The greatest pro athlete side quest, Antonio Brown, the GOAT. Actually, one more thing since we're here. Did anyone watch the Invincible episode last night? That final fight between Mark and Conquest, I always forget how brutal Invincible can be, and it has been pretty brutal in the previous seasons, but that scene got like an actual like reaction from my body. That was some nasty stuff right there. The sound effects, the voice acting, I mean, I can't really show any of it, but the actions that Conquest was taking, Jesus Christ, that was some different type of stuff right there. But no, this time for real, that's it.